what they do, you've lost. That's a horrible place to be in. We have to get to a place where we both understand that as long as we show up the way that we need to show up for each other, we have each other's back. We will be here. But neither of us will tolerate an unhealthy relationship and someone who blatantly does not want to work on making this better. I would want the woman I'm with to feel that way, and I need to feel that way. Once we understand that, and you have the confidence of, I can walk away if I have to, that shifts your energy right there in itself. And now you don't find yourself falling into that place where, again, you start to look a lot more unattractive, or for some men, they become yes men in their relationships, thinking that makes her happy. That's turning her off. She doesn't want you to be her yes man. She wants you to stand up for yourself sometimes. Give your opinion, give your perspective. She wants to be able to, if anything, be able to have discussions with you about these things. Not just you say, whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want. Over time, it becomes a problem. So I think that once we conquer that fear, once we create a space where we can talk about these moments and not feel some kind of way, I think sometimes men they struggle with taking the criticism from their partner. Men and women. We all do when we have actual feelings for someone. We don't care about you, it's not as big of a deal. But we're emotionally invested, we're more sensitive to it. But we have to understand that these criticisms are for the sake of making things better and strengthening this relationship. So once we can get to that place, it's going to be so much easier to grow in it. And then I think it's just a matter of understanding that this balance isn't just for your relationship. So look at it like from a sports perspective. If I'm on a basketball team, there may be moments where I need to take the lead and recognize, all right, everyone else is down. Someone needs to step up. This is my moment. And then there's other moments where I realize, okay, let's say we already have a team captain. Let me show them that I can follow, serve, do what needs to be done so that the team can win. It's just becoming aware of what the moment requires, And again, I think the more in tune we get with ourselves and the more in tune we get with our partner, the easier it becomes to find that balance.
That's the challenge, right? The challenge is just how much patience we have with ourselves and others to realize that you walked into an unbalanced situation. And now it's like, how much patience, how much time are we going to give it to get to that? Because the challenge is, I think we walk into a situation thinking it's perfect, whereas we should be walking into a relationship knowing it's imperfect.
Absolutely.
And we're going to learn and figure it out together. And I think that's what sets us up for failure, is because we walk into it going it's perfect, and deep down we know it isn't, but somehow we gloss over it. Whereas I find when I know we're going to fight, when I know we're going to argue, when I know there's going to be disagreements, that sets me up to develop the skills I need in order to navigate those things.
Yes.
But if I assume we're never going to fight, and I always get that, right? We always meet someone who goes to, I meet a friend who goes to me, Jay, we never fight. I'm like, how long have you been together? Because I don't know anyone who never fights. I get that no one has to get to the heights of fights. I get that. I get that. It doesn't have to be a heated fight. But I don't know anyone who doesn't disagree.
There you go. Okay,
right,
yes.
right.
I think that's important for people to understand.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yes, you have some individuals out there that'll say arguing is normal, it's healthy. And to me, it's like, listen, if we're talking about arguing where we're now crossing disrespectful lines, negative lines, the way the tone we take with each other, all these things, that's not healthy. Yes, it may happen. You should be prepared for that. But let's not normalize it and say we're just gonna keep doing this, and it is what it is. But you're right. To be with each other long enough and never have a disagreement, that's extremely rare. Okay? Extremely rare. And I do think that, again, as you mentioned, we have to be ready for those moments. We have to understand. And going back to how we find that balance, especially as men, and even for women, it's recognizing. So, for example, if my partner is in a very heated moment, let's say she's in her masculine right now, all right, she's getting rough. Well, meeting her with more masculine is probably going to only make things worse.
Yeah.
This is the time for me to be compassionate, go to her, hold her, calm her down, bring her peace in that moment. You see? Because we need to balance each other out. Same thing on the flip side. If I'm all heated and I'm extra passionate, and then my woman now comes with that same energy, That's it. Now we're butting heads. This is her moment to say no. Let me now be the one to soften the moment up, bring that sweetness in there, and everybody calms down. So it's learning how to feed off of each other and recognize, okay, they're over here. Let me bring it back over here. And now we can work from that point and we're both good.
The problem is that we all see compassion and sweetness and kindness in those moments as a weakness. We don't want to be that person because we see that as losing. We see that as giving in. We see that as us losing our power and strength in a relationship if we become the comforter or if we become the carer, right? Like that's a perception.
That is the perception, and we have to change that. That is the power position. So who is more powerful? The person that lets the energy dictate them how they're going to react, or the person that brings the energy and dictates how they're going to make this situation play out? So if I'm coming in to calm it down and being all sweet because I'm trying to bring peace here, I'm in the power position. I'm not losing anything. I'm going to gain more peace and happiness and harmony if I succeed in what I'm trying to do. So we have to get out of that mindset of this makes us weaker. And that is the big key of it. That's a big problem. That for a lot of women who struggle with their feminine energy, that's a big issue where they feel that being feminine is weakness. It's what got them taken advantage of and got them hurt. But I always say it's not the feminine energy that's the problem. It's who you give it to. Do they respect it? Do they honor it? You know, it's the same thing as a man. Does she respect your masculine? If she doesn't, then that might just be a sign you're with the wrong person. But don't stop being that guy, because the woman who's best for you is going to need that in those moments.
But that's exactly what it is, that when people are being their best selves for the wrong person, that person brings out the worst in them.
Yes.
Right? Like when someone's been their best, loving, kindest self, but someone took advantage of it, that person now thinks next time I've got to be aggressive, I've got to be, powerful, I've got to be strong in this way. And I feel like that's kind of what most people are dealing with. We know that is that you're just dealing with a wounded version of someone,
yes,
not a healed version of someone. But I think people struggle to trust again and again, especially when they see the same patterns in the person they're with. And I guess the question is, why do we keep making the same mistakes? Because I feel like a lot of us keep dating the same people.
Yeah.
And there's a part of us that also just keeps closing off or being more wounded. It's almost like if you cut yourself, you now walk around with your hand over that cut because you don't want to get cut again.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you lead it off and it gets cut even deeper, now you're even more conscious of that. And so I find that people are doing that where they're closing their heart more and more because it's been so misused and abused. And I understand that. I understand people don't want to be abused and misused, but I guess the question is, how do people find people that they know respect them so that they can be their best version or be a better version of themselves?
So,